Experiences related to health are often determined by factors beyond the individual, such as environment, policy, or culture. The arts have a critical and accessible role to play in tackling community conditions. What do you think?
We honor the land that we are meeting on, and it has formerly been the land of Concow, Maidu, Numlaki, which is part of the Wintu Nation, the Yahi, Yanyana, and the Yuki.
Let's place artists at the forefront of issues that are critical to society. And in different communities, that looks very different. Maybe it's water, maybe it's energy, maybe it's clean air, maybe it's fire, maybe it's all of those things because they are, after all, connected, especially now, at the moment. Maybe it's through civic engagement, social justice in all its forms, community engagement, and public health awareness. Who are we kidding? We've just come through this major pandemic. So we were just talking about what the California Creative Core is about. It's designed to fuel positivity, regain public trust, and inspire health and safety across California's diverse populations. This particular tool, called the Healthy Places Index and the Healthy Places Map, has been so successful within California that states across America are also starting to adopt it. The California Creative Core, it will lend itself to inviting applications from regional partners. So if you in Tehama as artists and organizations feel that when you look at the Healthy Places Index and that there's a sort of region that spans 2 counties or 3 counties or 4 counties and you're seeing a connection in terms of either the economy or wildfire prevalence or risk, etc., then we're going to challenge you to create projects across county lines if it makes sense for you here in Tehama. This snapshot, this is a screenshot from the Healthy Places Index, and it shows you your demographic breakup in terms of race and ethnicity. We always like to show this because when you're writing a grant application to the California Creative Core, you're going to want to see whether you're drawing correlations between your different cultures here in Tehama and any health outcomes you're seeing from the map. See the little black lines that run through the dark blue bits? This tells you that in Tehama, the county as a whole, the red flags in terms of community health are neighborhood, transportation, and economic. But also look at the education and the social ones. Housing appears to be pretty stable here. You might disagree. Neighborhood, according to the Healthy Places Index, is defined by 3 things. One is, the percentage of community members that have access to enjoyment of a public park. Are you within half a mile's walking distance of a park that you can enjoy? Is that park really accessible to you? Retail density, tree canopy, clearly it's not so bad. Not so bad here because we're rural, aren't we?
We do have parks, particularly here around Red Bluff. They are accessible. Pleasantness factor is questionable. Safety is questionable. So comfort level, well-being, you go to a park, you want to have a sense of well-being, and that is challenging.
Our parks have a large homeless population.
You might want to marry that idea with the policy action area that relates to economics. So if you follow that line above there, you can see that only 16% of the population of California suffers the same level of unemployment as does Tehama. And that only 8 or 9% of the rest of California suffers from the same level of unemployment as we do here. In our grant guidelines, we will ask you, try to be aware of your Indigenous populations. It's so tiny, but there's an element of reparation that I know the state is going to appreciate. Let's make sure we don't forget them. Want to look at Corning, just for fun? Transportation is probably the lowest. Do you want to have a quick peek at that? It's a terrible access to a car, basically. It means people can't ever go places, commute, a place with a better job, for example.
When it comes to automobile access, I would wonder how the question is phrased in the census and however it did it, because I would suspect that it's not access to automobiles, it's driver's license. When you look at your population, most of the Hispanic population, many of them do not have driver's licenses, they do not drive. So it would not necessarily be access to a car, it's the ability to have a license and drive that car.
I think that's brilliant. Katrina, this is exactly why we do the listening tours.
I worked with Head Start for 8 years, and we deal with a lot of the Hispanic population, and it is a huge issue.
And why do you think that is?
They're scared.
Yeah.
They don't want to be on record.
Yeah.
They're very scared, and they keep to themselves. And so even to get appropriate demographics, and I'm sure you can account for that as well. When it comes to census and population, they're hesitant and scared to be counted and come forth because they're not trusting of we're the government, we're here to help.
One thing to add is the public transportation limitations for all of Tehama County. And what is happening oftentimes is the schools and other social agencies have built out transportation systems of their own. So in order to get them to maybe a first orientation for cash aid, they now pick them up at their home and then bring them. The high schools have brand new fleets of vehicles to bring them to campus, not just buses, but for after school programs. So in absence of a public transportation system, a lot of local entities have invested their own resources, sometimes public, sometimes not, to bridge the gap.
So exactly. So again, only as a community will you know whether that's actually a real issue or maybe
It's a huge issue.
Yeah.
It's just that it's been patchworked to fix it.
Right. So do you want to have a quick look at the economic picture? All three of those lines, the degree of poverty, the degree of employment, and the degree of per capita income, all within the lowest quartile. And it gives you all the clues to how to build a project here, just in terms of, why it's important to look at employment.
25% of our 18 to 26-year-olds aren't in school or work, so they're considered disconnected. So that's close to double, sometimes triple other rural poor areas.
Yeah.
I'm aware that our community has been generationally poor. And so the 18 to 20 whatevers that aren't in school, they're reacting to, this is something they've seen before.
When we determine how much a county or a region should be apportioned, I mentioned that if we just to divide up the 3.4 million that we have to give to artists and to organizations supporting the artists, it would be like 170 or 180. But we feel that there are other things, such as the county density of blue area tracks. It's looking good in Tehama.
On the positive side.
Sadly. County population, county geographic size, county tribal and ethnic considerations composition, overall proposal strength is going to be critical, likely longevity, sustainability of projects beyond the pilot program's grant activity period. When you're thinking of your proposal, think how sustainable it's going to be and how usable as a case study. Is it going to become gold standard is what I'm trying to say. Make it gold standard if you can.
So Tehama Creatives is a kind of a grassroots art group that started about 3.5 years ago. Philip and I and 5 other people just kind of got together. We started a Facebook group, and we started sharing our art, and then we started something called the Drink and Draw. And we know when we gather, we start to brainstorm and get ideas. There was a conversation around the lack of public art in our town, and this is just 3.5, 4 years ago. So we started painting and it just spiraled from there. And so 3.5, 4 years later, we have over probably 25, 30 murals, wouldn't you say, in our town? And it's created a really big, awesome art movement. We really want to work on an art map because we have miles of arts and we can walk all around town. So getting a map location where we can get everybody to walk and see where they're going and see who the artists are.
As we saw that the grant was a workforce development grant, we thought it'd be helpful to lay a little bit of history and groundwork around workforce development that has happened and then some plans that are in the works. In 2015, we began a makerspace, a paid makerspace, where people who are on welfare are learning skills around both soft skills and hard skills, and they paint and make home goods and then sell them twice a month. And it's been wildly successful. It's been showcased throughout the state as a model of how to use art as a form of therapy, but also as a form of workforce development. And then around the economic, there's a lot of artists in the area that need upskilling. How do you actually take your skill and turn it into a business model? And how do you make money doing that? And how do you get the technical skills and that can move you forward?
I love the way you're already marrying what you found in the Healthy Places Index with possible solutions to them. I just keep thinking like this and keep engaging more artists.
As far as mental health is concerned, when we started painting these murals, I can't tell you how many people talk to me, and I'm sure you guys too, that
Huge
Thank
community support.
all these artists over and over and over again for like, I'm in my house, I'm depressed, I don't get outside, but they can safely get in their car and drive down the alleys and look. They're like, you saved us
Yeah.
from, serious depression, and we can see all these beautiful things in a safe space.
I don't see disability at all on this. There's touches of it because of the elderly, and the thing that I would like to voice as part of this community is that disability will touch every one of us. It's no matter age, race, background.
What if we did build out like a diversity, equity, and inclusion group as a part of this collective that really was a platform for voices of every level? Because diversity, like you said, it's all of us. It isn't always a visible diversity.
Exactly.
I think that's what made us so much successful at this point. I had a gal from Anderson, the city of Anderson. She called me and asked, how are we all doing what we're doing in Red Bluff and making such huge traction with all the art and the Arts Council and everybody? And I said, it's the people. It's the champions that we found, and it's the way we work together.
One concept is articulates, and that would be capitalizing on the fact that artists are fantastic observationists, first and foremost. Just exquisite at looking at whatever your subject is, capturing that, and pairing that with a natural resource professional or geologist, that expert, whoever, who is also an excellent observer.
That's so great. So now I thoroughly encourage you to go off and find artists who will work with you. I mean, you saw at the beginning that the state is very interested in what artists have to say.